Selfishness is conventionally understood to mean acting in a way that benefits yourself while harming others. For instance, being a rude jerk and cutting in line, or being a dictator who enslaves others. These are conventionally considered to be selfish people. Ayn Rand, whose philosophy I support, rejects this conventional conception of selfishness. She thinks such people are not actually selfish, at least if being selfish means acting in a way that serves your own long-term self-interest. On the contrary, such people are self-destructive. For instance, consider the dictator who enslaves others. By enslaving others, he puts himself at war with them. His victims have an incentive to rebel, overthrow, and perhaps kill him. And history provides many examples of men who rise to power and are then assassinated shortly thereafter by some other strong man, who in turn is assassinated by some other strong man. And so the cycle of brutality continues. And even if he isn't assassinated, there are harmful psychological effects of being a dictator. For instance, a dictator might suffer from the constant fear of being assassinated. He might constantly worry that one of his subjects, perhaps someone within his own household or bodyguard, will poison him or stab him in the back in order to take power himself. How well can you sleep at night if that fear is constantly hanging over your head? And what does being an oppressive dictator do to your capacity to form friendships or romantic relationships? If you treat others badly, who will want to be your friend or lover? And can you trust anyone who does try to be your friend or lover? Or will you be constantly plagued by doubts that they are just sycophants, pretending to like you because they want to be in your good graces in order not to be enslaved or executed, or in order to get some special favor from you? And what does it do to your self-esteem? Can you really respect yourself if you live as a parasite on others, knowing that you have done nothing to deserve your possessions? Or will your possessions leave you feeling empty and guilty because you know that they rightfully belong to others? If one considers all the effects of being a dictator, including the psychological effects, I think the proper conclusion to draw is clear. It is not in one's interest to be a dictator. Similar considerations apply to being a robber, a rapist, a conman, or simply a rude jerk. A man who is truly self-interested, in Rand's view, is one who exercises his rational mind to the best of his ability to produce the values that his survival requires. By using his mind to support himself, whether as a janitor, a computer programmer, or a scientist, he earns self-esteem, which is crucial to happiness. Rationality is the basic virtue in Rand's moral code, but she also identifies 6 other virtues. These are independence, integrity, honesty, justice, productiveness, and pride. Rand considered these virtues to be different ways of being rational. They are principles of action that, if adhered to, maximize one's chances of achieving happiness, which, for Rand, is properly the purpose of one's life. Happiness, as Rand understands it, is, quote, a state of non-contradictory joy, a joy without penalty or guilt, a joy that does not clash with any of your values and does not work for your own destruction. Not the joy of escaping from your mind, but of using your mind's fullest power. Not the joy of faking reality, but of achieving values that are real. Not the joy of a drunkard, but of a producer. Happiness is possible only to a rational man, a man who desires nothing but rational goals, seeks nothing but rational values, and finds his joy in nothing but rational actions, unquote. The basic vice, according to Rand, is irrationality. For example, indulging short-range desires at the cost of one's long-range well-being. It is not in one's self-interest to do whatever one feels like in the moment, heedless of consequences. Whim-worshipping emotionalism is self-destructive, not self-interested. Is selfishness a virtue? Virtue is a means by which one attains value, so the answer depends on what value one aims to attain. If a life of happiness is a value, which it is for Rand, indeed it is the highest value, and selfishness is indeed a virtue, at least if it is understood in Rand's sense. That is, if it is understood to mean a life guided by reason, including all of the virtues that involves.